for two. Kickers are extra, I give them the boot. Ooh, going for two. Sit back, relax while I grab me a brew. Ooh, now I'm reclining while putting my time and I'm ready to go. My spine is aligning and much my lineups, my bank account grow. I am so rich, but knowledge is all that I'm leaving it with. Ooh, listen to this. Multiple options, how far can I get? Ooh, DFS Dynasty redraft tonight, I'm not finishing last. I'm finishing past any and all, I am looking to last. What else? This spot is popping and I am so locked in and only opening the door when it is opportunity knocking. And all of these spots keep on talking and talking. So what are we talking? What kind of alignment? And running it deep, even players forgotten or came from the bottom or hitting that top end. And this spot is popping, yeah, this spot is popping. And woo! This is the armchair, yeah. Put up your arms, yeah. Sound the alarm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo!
What is going on, guys, and welcome to episode 330 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I am your coach, of course, Jeff Lambert. You can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. Of course, we are live every Wednesday night on the Going for Two Live Podcast Network on Facebook Live, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, and syndicated on all major podcast networks. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Searfoss. What's up, Ryan?
Oh, not much. Just ready to talk some divisions and stuff. Have some fun.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Also joining us.
I'm going to try to stay out of mischief.
Stay out of mischief, yeah. But luckily we weren't rolling before the show because that wouldn't have got you into some
Ryan.
trouble. All right, joining us tonight, Mr. Steven Pintado of the Fantasy Coaches Podcast. He's a writer for Dynasty Nerds as well. You can follow them on at Coach Steve P. What's up, Steven?
What's going on, everyone? Glad to be here tonight, talking some divisions. Loving it.
Absolutely.
Wasn't it, Steven, you posted that article that he was in the NFL at one point? Or am I making that up? Or was that something else?
Yeah.
Like, what team did you play for, dude?
I didn't at all.
Was it a long snapper?
The long snapper.
I was backup long snapper. Backup long
Dude,
snapper.
that sounds like a cushy job.
Yeah. All right. Also joining us, that lap here in the background, Miss Gladys Louise Tyler. She is, of course, the host of the 2 Point Conversion and the No Particular Order podcast on the Going for Two Live Network. She also writes for Going for Two as well. You can follow her on Twitter at Gladys L. Tyler. What's up, Gladys?
Not much. Ready to talk some Steelers because that's really the only team that matters in this division.
So real quick, we'll go real quick to the two of you. We'll go to you first, Steven. Give us a little quick rundown of what you do in the fantasy space and what your podcast is all about and what y'all do over there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I run and host the Fantasy Coaches Podcast. We do a mixture of Dynasty and Redraft, weekly podcast. We do a lot of short videos and stuff. We're doing a lot of cool, fun Outlook things right now on YouTube. And then also I write with Dynasty Nerds over there as well. And I do a bunch of different Dynasty articles from strategies to players and prospects and different things like that.
Good stuff. And Gladys, I mentioned a few things that you do for us, but you do more than just stuff for us as well. What else do you do in the fantasy space?
So I write for Razzball, and I write on defensive players on Razzball. For Going for Two, I write offense during the season. If Jeff lets me, I do like a start sit sort of, maybe we'll see if he allows me to do it this year. And then for Gridiron, I write on DFS and betting. And then, of course, the No Particular Order podcast on Thursday, in which Jamie will be a participant, where we mock usually non-football stuff, but we'll see what happens. We're doing superheroes this week.
Good stuff.
And then you're joining in 2 weeks. We're doing super villains.
Yep. I think I'll be on in 2 weeks. That's right. I was just going to say
Jeff knows like 3 of them now.
But they're all the best ones.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just do it just pick whatever you want. Don't even have to be a real villain.
I know, just do what Ryan did and just go off the reins and pick a video game.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Pick
matter.
a video game when you're talking movies and TV shows.
Exactly. It's greatest.
All right. As always, the show is, of course, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy with their entry-leading best ball leagues. You can play pick'ems, which we'll do some pick'ems tonight. They got private leagues, every major sport. Use our promo code GF2 to get a deposit match up to $100. You can scan that fancy QR code on the screen there if you're watching us. Again, the promo code is GF2. Go ahead and get your best ball started. I know they just released a new type of tournament just recently where you can win every single week. basically like it's a best ball that you can check in every week and actually win some money each week. So it's pretty cool. Go check it out. Again, promo code GF2. Tonight's show, as we alluded to a little bit already, we're going to be doing division previews, and we call this podcast I Hate Division Previews because as a consumer of podcasts, I always hated division previews, so I try to find a way to make it a little more interesting to do division previews. Of course, as content creators, we have to do these, but we turn them into mock drafts where we can only mock draft the players from each division to make it a little more interesting. The first round is typically your redraft players, and then that second round, it gets pretty ugly. You're looking at more of the dynasty long-term type players. So we'll do that tonight for the AFC and the NFC North divisions. But, of course, we'll kick it off with our nonsense draft.
Attention, everyone. Let's mock draft.
Now, our nonsense draft tonight, typically we do non-football related stuff, but because of the length of the shows these mock drafts take, we don't have time to do our Forgotten Face Player at the end of the show like we always do. So I decided to kind of combine the nonsense draft and the Forgotten Fantasy Player into one sort of segment.
He's frozen.
I'm frozen?
Someone froze Jeff.
I seem like I'm. Can y'all see me? Because
You're moving.
All right, maybe Gladys is the one that's having the issues because now she's frozen. All right, well, we'll continue. Hopefully Gladys gets back on board. So yeah, we'll be drafting tonight the retired players from the two divisions that we're drafting for tonight that we wish we can bring back in their primes to have them on our fantasy teams. And we're going to assume that it's going to be a one quarterback league. And so we're going to do that. We're going to do just 2 rounds. Each of us are going to pick 2 picks. And Gladys, you got the 101 here. So give us your 101 for the NFC and the AFC North of fantasy players.
Oh my God, they're frozen again. I don't know if I can
We can still hear you.
Gladys is about to bring the crazy back with this pick.
I don't know if she can hear us anymore. We can't hear her.
I'm like, she gets skipped.
And
all right, you're back.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Wait, do you guys think I'm frozen too?
No, you're the only one getting frozen. I think we've been good so far.
Okay. So in the 101, I am going 2014 Ben Roethlisberger, 4,952 yards, 32 touchdown passes, 9 interceptions, 608 attempts, 408 completions, 8.1 yards per attempt. 2014 Ben Roethlisberger is my 101.
Did he win MVP that year?
What?
He did not.
Yes. He should have, all right? You know it's true.
All right, Gladys going with the quarterback at the 101. I like it. All right, Steven, up to you here at the 102.
And it's either division, right? Either AFC or NFC.
Yep, NFC or AFC.
Gladys gave me a lap of Adrian Peterson from 2012, his 2,000-yard season here. I mean, back in when I played it back in 2012, 2,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. It was fun to watch Adrian Peterson, and any year prior to that too, almost for the most part, it was just sad. I think he's actually officially retired. I'm not sure though. He might actually be active. I might be cheating here, but to me, he's retired at this point. So give me Adrian Peterson.
Close enough.
Close enough. Yeah, even if he was playing, he's definitely retired by now.
Exactly.
Yeah, great pick there with Adrian Peterson. I had him on my list as well. I'm up at the 103, and I was going through some of the names, and there are some teams in here that, quite frankly, have been historically bad, but some of the best fantasy players have ever come out of this division. It's kind of insane when you think about some of the guys they had in this division. I'm going to throw it back to a time before I think he was just getting to the end of his career when I started playing fantasy football way back in 1996. He was towards the end of his career. We didn't know it then. He retired early. I'm taking Mr. Barry Sanders here at the 103. I thought he would have gone higher than that, but Barry Sanders in his prime was literally the best player I've ever watched with my own eyes on TV. And he's something special, and he put up some monster seasons. And I think if he had had a better team, he probably would have played a little bit longer. I think the Lions kind of forced him out there. So Barry Sanders for me at the 103 here. Ryan, you got the 104.
Dude, I'm just keeping the running back thing going with yet another 2,000-yard rusher. Just pure power back. Jamal Lewis. We're talking over 300 touches in 7 of his 9 seasons. He had his 2,000-yard season in 2003. Just an absolute horse of a man who just ran through everybody.
Yeah, I loved him. And I think that was the year. So I think, was Priest Holmes just off that team? Like, I know they were on the team for a little while. He had just left that year. And that's when he had his 2,000-yard season, I believe, is right after that. Because I had both of them in that year when he left to go to Kansas City. And I had Jamal Lewis as well. So that was a pretty good season. All right, Gladys, we're back to you at the 105. Your first pick was Mr. Big Ben.
All right. First, let me get this straight. So when I think you guys are frozen, I'm the one that's actually frozen?
Yeah.
So weird. That's so weird. All right. I'm going another Steeler, and I'm not going the bus, who I know you guys think I was going to pick. I'm going 2002 Hines Ward.
Ooh.
12 touchdowns, 160 targets, 112 receptions, 1,329 yards. Boom.
Gladys leaving off probably the two of the best Steelers, at least for fantasy.
You should have took the best Steeler, Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown.
Not only was he a great player, but he was also the best teammate.
Yeah. Antonio Brown before the hit or Antonio Brown after the hit? That's the question.
Tomato, potato.
Yeah.
All right, Steven, your last pick here at the 106.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna stick with my Minnesota Viking love today, apparently, and I'm gonna go Randy Moss. I mean, just truly just dominant first 6-7 years of his career, over 1,000 yards each year, multiple seasons where he had double-digit touchdowns. I mean, even that one season when he was playing when I guess New England, but I guess in Minnesota he had like three seasons of at least 15 touchdowns. Like that's super impressive, and obviously he's had a hell of a Hall of Fame career. So.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the ones I thought would have gone much sooner than here. So that's an awesome pick. All right, I'm up at the 107 here, and I mentioned the teams that have been historically bad, that have some of the best players to ever play the game, and I'll stick with that with the Lions again one more time, and I'll take Calvin Johnson here at the 107. You really can't beat Calvin Johnson. He's had monster seasons. When he played with Matthew Stafford, he was just peppered him with targets. I think he, up until just recently when Cooper Kupp broke his record, he had the most yards in a season. So yeah, I'll take Mr. Calvin Johnson all day. All right, Ryan, closes out here. What do you got for your last pick here?
I really want to take Jay Cutler just because he brought an exciting brand of football that we may never see again. But I'm going with Brandon Marshall. Just getting a little off beating path.
I like it.
I mean, he's completely been overshadowed and forgotten, and he's had dozens of 1,000-yard seasons. He's put up 1,500 multiple times, double-digit touchdowns, just a beast. And we just kind of forget about him because he got moved around a lot. But, man, he was in Chicago, and was getting chucked to by Cutler. It was a train.
Yeah, I know you broke it with Denver, but what's that record that he owns? Either most targets or most receptions, one of the two.
He had a 192 target game. In a game.
He had the record in the game. I think a 28 target game, or he had something ridiculous. I forget what it was. I know he broke Terrell Owens' record, but I can't remember what the record was. He definitely had a huge monster game.
It was 28 targets.
That's insane.
In a game.
28 targets in a game.
Oh, dude, can you imagine the PPR?
I know, right? It's insane. All right, a couple notable names that were left off the list here that I had on my list. I had Matt Forte, obviously for the Chicago Bears.
Oh, that's a good one.
Going way back, probably even before fantasy football, but Mr. Walter Payton, of course, one of the greatest running backs to ever play. Again, one of those guys that that you think of just as one of the best ever. And of course, we mentioned Lev Bell, Antonio Brown, Chris Carter is another good one. I think that could have made this list if we had gone a little bit longer. Any of them that y'all had that we didn't get to?
Jordy Nelson.
Herman Moore,
that's a good one. Who'd you say, Steven?
Jordy Nelson,
another great pick. I forgot about
Ocho Cinco.
Oh,
you're right. I didn't even think about Ocho Cinco. That's a great pick. Yeah, absolutely. All right, what about you, Gladys? Any of that on your list that you didn't get a chance to draft?
No, because they were all Steelers.
More Steelers.
We noticed no Browns were even thought of.
Yeah, no.
Peyton Hillis.
Peyton Hillis in his one season.
Give it to me.
All right. As I mentioned, we are going to do a mock draft of the AFC North and the NFC North. We will do the AFC North first. Let's go ahead and hit the drop.
Attention, everyone. Let's mock draft.
So for these mocks, since we can run our players pretty quickly here, we are going to do super flex. So that'll put the quarterbacks in play here. And Gladys, since the AFC North, as you've already alluded to many times already, is kind of your division here, you get to kick off here with the 101.
101 pick. I am taking quarterback Lamar Jackson.
I like it.
Taking a Raven, just like
Lamar Jackson will 35% of Lamar Jackson's fantasy points come from his rushing ability. Although he has said that he is going to run less and pass more, I think that with Todd Monken being the offensive coordinator, it will offset. So he still has that dual quarterback threat. And even if he runs less, what is he going to, like 20% of his fantasy points are going to come from his run game? I would still take it. Zay Flowers now, with Zay Flowers, Odell, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman. If Rashad Bateman and Odell Beckham can stay healthy, Monken is like, I think when he was in Cleveland in 2019, they were like 14th in early down passes, like at 55%. He's had 4,000 passing yard quarterbacks. I don't think that Jackson's going to get to 4,000, but anything better than what he's had with Greg Roman, he's going to at least double that. So he has he has the dual threat, and I don't care that he's going to run less. I think that he's just going to be top 5 this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the passing part of it takes up for rushing less. And I think the rushing becomes more effective because then they're going to worry about his passing a little bit more and becomes more efficient. All right. 102, Steven. She made your pick pretty easy, I think, here for Superflex. Who you got?
Absolutely. It definitely has to be Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow is a top 5 elite quarterback in my eyes right now. I mean, he has probably one of the best offenses in total around him with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, even like the backups with like Charlie Jones and stuff. Like there's some decent depth on that Cincinnati Bengals offense there. And then you add I think, more athletic tight end in Irv Smith Jr. and getting rid of Hayden Hurst. And the way this offense is going to work is, I mean, they're just going to throw the ball a ton. I mean, they're going to be in tough games where they're going to have to throw the ball and rely on Joe Burrow. We don't know what kind of Joe Mixon we're going to get this year. And if he kind of falls to the wayside or is inefficient, they're going to be forced to throw the ball more times than not. This offensive line is hopefully healthy and is going to continue to protect Joe Burrow. And you've seen over the last 2 seasons, he's been doing very well, but I think there's a breakout season coming for him as a lot of players looking to make big contracts. And he's been at that 35 touchdown mark. I could see 40. I could see 4,500 yards this coming season here. And, gotta love Joe Burrow in fantasy right now.
Yeah, and he's done it with some offensive lines, at least 2 years ago, especially with some bad offensive lines. If he can get some protection, along with what he's already doing, I think it's definitely going to be a great season for him. So I agree. Those are the top 2 picks that I would have made, Jackson and Burrow. And then it gets a little bit tricky after that. For me, I can't go quarterback here. The 2 quarterbacks on the board, I'm not really a fan of. So I'm going to go with Jamar Chase. Obviously, he's the 1B to Justin Jefferson, who's also on here as well. But Jamar Chase is tied to Joe Burrow. I think that longevity wise, I think his career is going to be much better. So I will take Jamar Chase here at the 103. Ryan, 104.
I feel like I was the one who just got the shaft where the cutoff of the elite players is. I'm going to take Deshaun Watson here. Obviously, the quarterback thing is what you need Superflex. But we saw him start to click at the end of last season. We know what he has been in the past with taking 2 years off football. It was slow to getting back, but they did right by him. He has good tight ends with Njoku there. They brought in Elijah Moore for him. Amari Cooper and him were clicking at the end of the year. They have a good running game. Watson should be playing some good football and will be right around the end of that top 12 for quarterbacks in fantasy. But his rushing upside keeps him with the possibility of being higher.
Yeah, I was tempted to go quarterback there with Deshaun Watson too, but it's just that uncertainty that I just couldn't take that chance.
2020, his last full season, he had 4,800 passing yards.
It's definitely definitely has that elite ceiling, that's for sure.
Like the ceiling's there.
Absolutely. All right, Gladys, back to you at the 105 here.
Okay, I have a quick question. Scoring, are we doing Scott Fishbowl scoring tight end premium or no?
No, just regular sleeper.
Regular scoring?
PPR. Yep.
Then I am going to go wide receiver, and I'm going to go Deontay Johnson. He had low fantasy, but he had no touchdowns last year. I think it was like he set a record he had 147 targets, 86 receptions, 882 yards, and 0 touchdowns. So there's got to be a positive touchdown regression. If there's a negative touchdown regression, there has to be a positive touchdown regression. He led the team in targets. There's no reason he won't lead the team in targets this year. He led the team in receptions. No reason he won't lead the team in receptions this year. And 882 yards, you've got to think that's going to go up with what they have to worry about. I mean, with Najee being healthy, you have to worry about the run game. And then you have Deontay, and you have George Pickens, and you have Pat Frymuth. And you have Darnell Washington in there too, who's just a freaking offensive lineman who's playing tight end.
Yeah.
So, I'm going Deontay Johnson as my number 2 pick.
I like it. All right, Steve, you got the 106 here.
Yeah, the 106 kind of hard because I feel like there's a couple players I could go here that I do really like, but I'm going to go with a fan favorite of mine. I'm going to go with Nick Chubb. The running back for the Cleveland Browns here. And Nick Chubb has a fantastic opportunity in 2023 right now. No more Kareem Hunt. Say what you want about Jerome Ford. I do like him, but Nick Chubb is going to see the rock in this offense here. He's a little older, but doesn't have too many 300 carry seasons on his belt. So he's in line for another 300 carry season here. A guy who could probably get double-digit touchdowns. A guy who's going to have more opportunities with hopefully Deshaun Watson now better integrated into this offense here now. The sloppiness early on of the end of last season kind of made this offense kind of fall apart, but hopefully they can kind of get it back together. I'm hearing reports out of, camp that, they want to get him the ball in the passing game more, in which he was doing pretty good in 2019. He had like 49 targets, and then Kareem Hunt came to town the last 3 seasons, and it kind of fell apart on him. So I'd love to see what Nick Chubb's going to do in the passing game more, and he's going to see the running game. He's going to see the rushing touchdowns. He's as safe as possible pick I think you can make at this point in this draft.
I agree, and you mentioned the touchdowns there because I know as a Nick Chubb owner in Dynasty, always got frustrated when they got down to the red zone. They put Kareem Hunt in there.
Very frustrating.
Chubb would get him into the red zone, and they would pull him out and put in Kareem Hunt, and I'd be cussing at my TV. It was so frustrating. But Kareem Hunt is now gone. He'll get those red zone touches. He should get more touchdowns in result of that. So I agree. Nick Chubb's a great pick here. All right, you made my pick pretty easy. There is 2 guys that I'm kind of torn on, but one guy I like a little bit more than the other one. I think he's a little bit more safe, and that's going to be Najee Harris. We've talked about him a bunch on the podcast. No need to keep giving him love, but he's getting too much hate over his season last year. He still had 1,200 total yards. He had 10 total touchdowns. If you look at his last 7 or 8 games of the season last year, when he finally got healthy after his bye week, he was the RB7, I believe. So I think he's going to come into the season fully healthy, no more scare of the Lynn Frank injury, fully healthy with a hopefully better quarterback that can get him the ball on the checkdowns, which he was missing a lot of targets last year. Offensive line's going to be better, so he's not going to be blocking as much as he did last year either. So I think that helps. So I'll take Najee Harris here at the 107.
Love that pick. Big bounce back season.
I agree. Ryan, you got the 108 here.
Take Mark Andrews here. Locking up the tight end position. I don't care who they brought in, whether it be Odell, Zay. He's Lamar's best friend. He is a beast in the red zone. And you know what? He's not going to be getting double, triple team, bracketed every single time this year like he's been in the past. And it should give him those clear running lanes where he can show off his athleticism, average more yards to carry, be a little bit more efficient, because it was just hitting down before because everybody was on him every single play.
Nice. Not where I thought you were going to go, but I like the pick, though, for sure.
Good pick, yeah.
All right, Gladys, you got the 109 here.
Yeah, hold on. Mike Andrews was my 109.
Oh, you got sniped.
You're such a Ravens fan.
know,
Shut up.
I love it.
You get all the Steelers in the
Not true.
retired player draft.
Such a Ravens. I think that hat's purple too. Just representing.
It's
Like
blue.
Mac.
It's blue.
That looks
I'm colorblind, so it's perfect.
I'm gonna take. Yeah. I'm gonna go. J.K. Dobbins.
Oh, that's who I wanted.
Um,
Let's hope he get back to me.
I think Dobbins is going to have a bounce back year. I mean, He only played 8 games and he had 520 yards last season in 8 games, which is pretty stout. And when Modkin was in Cleveland, Nick Chubb rushed for 1,400 yards, like almost 1,500 yards. I think he missed it by like 6 yards. So it's not like they're going to abandon the run game. And I think JK and my quarterback, I'm okay with stacking those two.
Yeah, I like the pick. I think his receptions and targets go up this year too, because we know Monken likes to use his running backs in the passing game. So, Ron, you're like shaking your head over there. What do you
What's wrong with you, Ryan?
Oh, I hope so, because I just can't handle another season him bitching about that. That's literally the only thing I can think about when I hear his name is him complaining about everything. I love him so much as a player, but I hate him. I just can't stay. He makes me so mad.
All right, Steven, we're back to you at the 110.
Yeah, there's a couple of players I'm surprised that are still there, but I'm thinking redraft this season here. I'm thinking who's going to get me the most possible points. I think at this point, I'm going to go with Amari Cooper right now. Cleveland Browns wide receiver here. I know there's Joe Mixon, T. Higgins on the board there, but with Amari Cooper, he's the number 1 wide receiver on this Cleveland offense here. They want to pass the ball more this coming season here. Sean Watson hopefully is getting the rust off his body from this not playing the last few seasons here now. And Amari Cooper's been a guy who's in 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns over 3 of the last 4 seasons here. He's still 29 years old. I still don't think there's over the hill mentality in his mind yet. I still expect him to be, high-end wide receiver 2 potentially in fantasy this year. So I like Amari Cooper right now.
Yeah, that's a great pick there. I actually had overlooked him and wasn't even thinking about taking him here. So great pick. All right, I'm up at the 111 here. And if we're looking at this as a team building exercise, there's one position that I am drastically lacking on, and that is quarterback. And there's only one left to take. So I will take Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett at the 111 here. I do think he has a little bit of a better season. I think we saw some progression towards the end of last season. He did not have a game with more than one passing touchdown at all last year. I think that definitely gets better. We know Tomlin, historically wants to pass the ball. Surprisingly, I know we think of the Steelers as a run team, but if you look at Tomlin's history, he wants to throw the ball a lot. So I think Pickett gets a lot more volume this year. I think Najee Harris contributes. We already mentioned Deontay Johnson. George Pickens is there. I think this offense will be better. It won't be as good as other offenses in this division, but with the last quarterback on the board, I don't hate having Kenny Pickett here as my quarterback. Ryan, you got the back-to-back here. You got the 112 and the 201 here. What you got?
Well, we're keeping Cincinnati for both. I'm taking T. Higgins first. It's crazy. He's still there. I mean, we got back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, young receiver with huge upsides of his big frame. He had only 6 or 7 touchdowns the last 2 years, but those were less than full seasons. Dude, that offense is clicking, and everybody expects Burrow to do better and get better this year, which should mean all his playmakers do. I wanted to take him a couple spots ago, and it kept falling that way where I couldn't. But dude, he's so good.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think T. Higgins should have gone a little bit sooner. And had I not needed a quarterback, if I'm thinking of this as team building, I would have taken him at the 111. But the fact that there's only one quarterback left, and I needed one, so it had to be Pickett.
I almost took him over Andrews.
Yeah,
and then I'm thinking Joe Mixon. He's the last true real running back there. I know he had a little bit down year last year, but his down year was still 1,200 yards in an offense that should give him a ton of red zone opportunities, because obviously it's a high-powered offense, and scoring means being in scoring positions, being in the red zone is good for running backs.
Yep, I like that. That's who I would have picked there. And I think there's a bit of a teardrop from that 201 to my 202. There is one player that I really like here, and I'm torn if I want to go with the tight end, because I think there's only one that I really want here, but I will stick with receiver position, and I will go with George Pickens. I think he takes over that number one role this year. I think Johnson will still get his, but I think Pickett will now be the featured receiver in that offense. He's a big play guy. We know we've seen some of the catches that he made last year, just ridiculous catches. I think that Tim and Pickett will get that chemistry in the offseason, and I think it's Pickett's season to sort of break out this year. So give me George Pickens at the 102. Steve, you got the 103.
Yeah, I'm going to take the player that you probably might have took, maybe Pat Freiermuth, Pittsburgh Steelers tight end here. I mean, Pat Freiermuth, he took a nice step forward in his develop there. Obviously, we didn't like that he only scored 2 touchdowns this past season here, but He's got a young quarterback that should hopefully use him in tight situations in the red zone to get quick first downs here. Again, I just like Pat Freiermuth. I think he's a solid tight end that should be able to produce for you. He might not have the big upside, but he should be able to provide you with a nice floor week in and week out. So,
yeah, he's that typical Steelers tight end, right? He's not flashy, not super athletic, but he's just going to catch the ball when you throw it to him and catch touchdowns every year. So
exactly.
I like that pick.
Do you guys think he's going to be helped there by having Darnell Washington, who's on blocking duties because he's such a good blocker, and kind of just lets Freiermuth stretch out more? If that's the case, love that pick.
Yeah, I agree. I think Washington's there to sort of take that blocking assignment off of Freiermuth to allow.
Would be good for him.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Gladys, you're here at the 204.
I'm going to take.
I'm guessing you probably sniped her Freiermuth here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sniped on both tight ends now.
Take your Raven.
Yeah, there's no more good Ravens left. Maybe Flowers, but I don't want to. Maybe I do. I'm gonna take Darnell Washington. You know what? I think that he is going to be that blocking tight end, but I also think that he's going to be overlooked in the red zone, and that big body. Pat Freiermuth was the last rookie tight end to have 7 touchdowns. I think Darnell Washington is going to eclipse that. I think they're going to just use him in the red zone. 6'6", 260. You can't miss him. Block and then go in. So I'm going Darnell Washington.
Yeah, I like that pick there. To be a top tight end in this league, you don't have to do a whole lot. You catch for 50 yards a game and get 1 or 2 touchdowns every couple of games, you're good. And I think he can definitely pull that off. So I like it. Ryan, 205.
Got real gross, huh? But I'm gonna go off upside of a player who I truly believed in 2 years ago, but one down season we kind of just forgot that he existed, and that's Elijah Moore. He is now with a good quarterback and a high-powered offense. He should be that high-volume slot threat for them in Cleveland. He may not hit, but you know what? I'd rather bet on his upside than a lot of these other guys in offenses where they may not pass as much or have to.
Yeah, he was the last one on the list that I thought before that teardrop again. That teardrop is pretty brutal at this point. So I'm up at the 106, and I got to make some tough decisions here. We talked a lot on this podcast about the Ravens and their passing game getting better, and there's 2 receivers here. You don't know which one of them is going to be the one in the offense. Obviously, Ryan took the main guy, Mark Andrews. But between the 2 young guys, Rashad Bateman coming off an injury and Zay Flowers, I'm going to take the rookie. I'm going to go with the upside here and get the rookie. I think he gets some volume because of the position that he's going to play in the slot. I think he's got a quickness, and he has sort of that angry mentality. Like you watch him play, he really plays like a Steve Smith type player. So I love Zay Flowers, and I'll take him here at the 106. And Steven, I saw you sort of grimace a little bit. Was that your pick there?
Yeah, I was thinking about taking Zay Flowers there. I liked what he's able to do there. I think he's going to fit well in the slot and be able to produce while the other 2 are on the outside. So
him and Lamar have been together for about the last 2 weeks.
What'd you say?
Him and Lamar have been practicing together, just the 2 of them, for like the last 2 weeks or so.
That's what I want to hear. Let's see.
Yeah, it's ugly at this point. This point, you're taking flyers.
Yeah, basically. Give me my handcuff. Give me Jerome Ford here. I really did like Jerome Ford coming out of the draft 2 years ago. He was a top 5 prospect for me when he was coming out here. He just fell due to some combine issues and workouts like that. So, but he's going to jump into that RB2 slot. We've seen the Browns RB2 spot be productive with Kareem Hunt. Ford can work on the ground and does very well in the passing game as well. So, and we've seen Nick Chubb get hurt at times over his career. So, if something happens to Chubb, Ford, I think, can come in and be the main back in this backfield. So I'll take an upside flyer here with Ford.
All right. I like it. We got a real quick question in the chat. I want to just see if we can get to that. We don't get a lot of questions mid-show, but see if we can get to this. It's a pretty long one here. Let me put them up on screen. So he said he got a complicated question for his keeper redraft league. You get to keep 2 players, and they stay in the round you drafted them, and these are his options. So 2 players out of these guys. DeAndre Swift, I guess first round. I'm guessing that's what he means, or he's just listing them straightforward. You got DeAndre Swift, CD, Mike Williams, ETN, Adam Thielen, Jamar Chase, Kyler Murray, AJ Dillon, Brandon Ayuk, Naeem Hines, Alberto, Boyd, Cole Kmet, Jared Cook. So there's a lot of ones there. I'm not too excited about.
Chase and Lamb, easy for me.
Yeah.
You're gaining a round and a half on Lamb, who's a high round pick, and you're gaining freaking infinite with Jamar Chase, getting him 6 rounds later.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's those two players for me as well. I think not only that, the fact that it's keeper and their receivers, you can keep them longer in their career. Like ETN's a nice little piece to have there, but
Lamb's almost his value. Actually, I didn't realize the number was before what round they were, but it's still you're locked in on that value. But yeah,
I think it's Lamb and Chase for me as well. Glass, you want to chime in here?
I don't get a second round pick if I keep Lamb. I'm between ETN and Lamb.
So yeah, each round. So the first round is DeAndre Swift. Second round is
right.
Lamb.
Swift I would let go, but Chase for sure. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't get a second round pick I would go ETN. I would go Chase and ETN so he could have a second round pick this year.
Yeah, but that second round pick is basically CeeDee Lamb, and if you can get CeeDee Lamb in the second round, I think I like that. I don't know, it's probably where he's probably going, but I don't know. That's a pretty solid list of receivers there. That's just my opinion. Like I said, the fact that you can keep him longer, but ETN's definitely in the mix for sure.
You got to think with keepers, there's going to be good players like Jamar Chase who aren't going to be there. He's going to push that Lamb value up. So if Lamb goes back in, he's probably almost a high first at this point.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd take him at that value.
All right, get back to the mock draft here. Where are we at? We're at you, Gladys, at the 208.
Donovan Peoples-Jones, number 2 wide receiver in that offense. If Deshaun Watson can get his shit together, then I think he'll be all right. But
at this point, it's like
yeah.
It always gets ugly. Actually, in some divisions, it gets uglier a lot faster than this.
This lasted a while. It's been a while, but this one's lasted a while.
Yeah, this is not too bad. All right, Ryan, you got the 109. I'm sorry, the 209.
Yeah, I'm taking Gus Edwards. Minus last year where he had a blown out knee. He's gotten 700 yards like clockwork as the RB2. So he's had standalone value in Baltimore, no matter who the other running back was. Plus, he is a premier handcuff because whether they're going to change and open the pass game or not, they're still going to run the ball. They're a running football team. And if you look at Georgia in the past few years, they've always had that power running back who's got volume. That's what Gus Edwards is. If he gets a starting job there, they're just going to pound him and pound teams in submission with him, and he skyrockets if he's the only one getting carries.
Yeah, I like Gus Edwards there as well. He definitely has the best potential upside of the guys left.
Every best ball he's been on my team. I can't leave best balls without him because he falls so deep.
Agreed. All right, I'm up at the 210. It's my last pick of the draft, and I have yet to draft a tight end. So I'm going to take the last one that I think has some value. Mr. David Njoku finally had his breakout season 9 years later, or however long he's been in the league. It feels like 9 years. He finally had a great season last year. I think it continues into this year, and I'll take Njoku here with my last pick in this 2-round mock draft. Steven, you got the last pick for your team here at the 211.
Yeah, no, definitely. Give me Rashad Bateman. I'm not a big Bateman fan, but opportunity knocks at times, and if he can stay on the field and be healthy, we saw when they used him in the offense to go deep. I mean, it clicked with him and Lamar. So if he can stay healthy and maybe he can have some kind of career bounce back here, so give me him at this point in the draft.
All right. And Gladys, you get Mr. Irrelevant in this draft, the 212.
Give me Jaylen Warren.
Of course, it's a Steeler.
What's more irrelevant than a Steeler?
Wow. All right, right.
Love you, Gladys.
Almost took
him. We're like 5-1 against the Ravens, right?
He knows.
I'm just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, I almost took Warren actually at the 110. On the 210 being that fact that I had Najee too, so it's my handcuff. But yeah, I like Warren. I think he has some value in that offense. I do think Tomlin wants to have a one running back, backfield, but Warren was too good last year to keep off the field, so I definitely like that pick as well. All right. I was going to say any notables that are left on the board, but there's not much. I mean, Irv
No.
Smith Jr. is still there. Tyler Boyd is still there. Trenton Irvin, the rookie, is still there. Odell Beckham Jr. is on the board. Allen Robinson, Cedric Tillman, not a whole lot. But I will say this division, like I said, is better than some divisions. Me and Ryan have done some where bottom of the first round, we're like, there's nobody left to draft.
Looking at the board, it's already next one.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Yeah, it's a lot better than the next one. It's a lot better than the next one.
All right, speaking of the next one, let's go ahead and hit the drop.
Attention, everyone. Let's mock draft.
All right, we are doing the NFC North now, and Steve, this is your division, so you get to kick us off here. Give us your 101 in the NFC North.
This one's a little tougher. Man.
It's brutal, I know. Superflex makes it harder.
Yeah, I know it does. You know what? I'm going to pass on the quarterback here, and I'm going to go Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
I'm taking Justin Jefferson, even in the Superflex spot here. Justin Jefferson, he is just a monster on the field here. A guy who's going to put up probably another 1,700 yard season here. He was just so consistent last season that he was just big play after big play. And I trust him to put 16, 17 points up per game. Then I trust any of the quarterbacks to be consistent enough for me. I know Fields was amazing last year, but Justin Jefferson is just a big factor to have on your team, no matter Superflex or not.
Yeah, I think that's what I would have gone with as well, even in Superflex leagues. Like you mentioned, Justin Fields, probably the quarterback that may have gone at the first pick there, but Jefferson is so good that you can't really pass him up.
Yeah.
Gladys, you got the 102.
Justin Fields. Taking quarterback Justin Fields with his 1,100 rushing yards, his number 7. He was 7th in red zone completion percentage passing, and they kind of tried to upgrade his arsenal. So I'm sticking with Justin Fields. I don't think last year is an aberration. I think that he will continue to run the ball like nobody's business. He had 308 passing attempts, 37 red zone passing attempts, and I just see that number increasing slightly, but I like his rushing upside.
I like it. And that's the teardrop right there. After this, it's downhill from here. It gets pretty bad. So, all right, so I'm looking at the board here, and running backs are sort of all in that same sort of blah tier. You don't really love any of them. But the same thing with the receivers. I guess, you know what? There's one that I'm overlooking that I will take. I'll take Amon-Ra St. Brown here. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's going to continue his solid play week in and week out. That offense should be better this year. So give me Amon-Ra here at the 103. Pretty easy pick, actually, once I realized he's still on the board. Ryan, you got the teardrop. Where are you going to 104?
I'm going to start with yikes. And I got a little nauseous before I said this. I'm going with Jared Goff. Goff had the quietest 4,400 yard season you've ever seen with 29 touchdowns. He's an offense that should improve once Jameson Williams is back from suspension. You add in his new running back, Jameer Gibbs. It's improving there. So I'm going to take the chance with Goff. It was close with him and Cousins, but losing Dalvin, I think, hurts that offense more than we're going to give it credit for this time.
Yeah, fair point. All right, Steven, you got the 105.
Yeah, let me get that stack with Kirk Cousins. Year 2 in a new offense that loves the pass. They got rid of their star running back and Dalvin Cook here. They added another weapon in the passing game in Jordan Addison. Probably the best, pass catching core that Kirk Cousins ever had. So give me him for a bounce back season in a contract year. So
yeah, I like it.
Kirk does ball in contract years, man.
Yeah,
which is like every year in Washington, but
yeah. All right, Gladys, you're here at the 106.
I'm gonna take Jordan Addison. I think that there's like 1,013 targets open with Thielen and Cook on. Hawkinson might take some, but I don't think he's going to take all. People are going to be paying attention to Justin Jefferson, which opens up for Addison. Addison is a yak kind of guy. I like Addison in this. I think he had the best landing spot of any of the rookie wide receivers. He's easily wide receiver 2 in this offense. I'm going to take Jordan Addison.
Yeah, great pick there. You're right. I mean, there's a lot of targets in an offense that should be available for him, and he should definitely be the receiver next to Justin Jefferson in the offense. So I like Addison as well. All right, for the second mock in a row, I'm left with the garbage at quarterback, whatever's left. I'll take Jordan Love at the 107 here, just for the fact that he is the only quarterback left on the board worth taking. I do think he'll have some value this year. He won't be anything to write home about, but I do think he'll be better than people expect him to be. He's got some decent weapons to utilize, but 2 running backs, some good receivers, some good young receivers. So Jordan Love at this point at 107, I'll take him in Superflex leagues. Ryan, you got the 108.
Give me the guy who's just shy of 1,000 yards at a premium position. That's TJ Hawkinson. His volume went up when he went to Minnesota, and we kind of talked about Addison being added there, which just keeps opening up that area for Hawkinson to thrive, especially in the red zone. So I'm going to take Hawk here. And tight ends, hard to get, especially when he was good. And I feel really confident with him.
Agreed. Hawkinson's one of those rare players. So we play a lot of DFS, and Hawkinson, there's a thing in DFS called breaking the slate. And Hawkinson did it twice last year for 2 different teams. He did it for the Lions before he got traded, and then went to Minnesota and did it there as well, and basically broke the slate, had some monster games. So yeah, Hawkinson for sure is a great pick at the 108. Steven, you got the 109.
What?
Somebody was upset with that pick there.
Oh, give me DJ Moore. We've seen the trend over the last few seasons with wide receivers being traded to new teams, to young quarterbacks that need a number 1 pass catcher. DJ Moore seems to be able to work, not elite, but very good with any possible quarterback that's thrown his way. And Justin Fields hopefully will progress in his year 3 here and give him back that 1,100, hopefully more than 4 touchdown season. So.
For once, it's not Ryan's dog.
No, it's not.
Fitz has been an angel. Leave him out of it.
Definitely. Yeah, great pick there, DJ Moore. I think there's a nice little teardrop after Moore. I think he can succeed with any quarterback. I think we've seen that. So that's a great pick there at the 109. Gladys, you got the 110 here.
I'm going to go with Aaron Jones because I think that they're going to have to rely on their run game. And he had 5.6% on stacked fronts last year, which, isn't great, but he also had 213 rushing attempts and over 1,000 rushing yards. And I see that happening again this year, 7 rushing touchdowns. Give me Aaron Jones.
All right. So you definitely broke the glass on the running backs there. I'm up at the 111. And I think so. This guy I don't particularly love in redraft leagues. I love him in Dynasty, but I don't know how good he's going to be in year 1. But I'll take Jahmyr Gibbs here at the 111 and hope that he has one of those rookie seasons that, like Alvin Kamara kind of had, where he had a ton of receptions and can actually be a viable bottom of the RB1, top of an RB2 range. So give me Jahmyr Gibbs at the 111. Ryan, you got the back-to-back here with the 112 and the 201.
Cool. Time to be a hypocrite because I've been trashing Christian Watson leaks, but I'm taking Christian Watson here because out of what's left, he has the clearest targets. Whether that offense is good or not, it's gonna be, but he'll still be a viable option. Not as high as we're taking him in fantasy. Grows from here on out. I don't know how you get much worse than him, but keep the hypocrite alive. Alexander Madison, even though again he's going to be a step up from Dalvin Cook. He's never been sufficient. He's never been a runner, but he does have a chance of getting good volume. So at this point, volume's king, I guess.
Yeah, that's a very strong statement there with Alexander Mattison that you didn't love him. Yeah, that's a great pick, though. I mean, obviously, at this point in the draft, there's not a whole lot left, and I think he has the clearest path to potential volume.
It's just
and volume. It's just
it's
it.
vile.
Yeah, you're right. There's just not a whole lot left. All right, so I have the 202, and I'm going to straight bet on upside. We know he'll miss the first 6 games of the season. Hopefully, he comes back and he's semi-decent. Hopefully, he can, be what we hoped he was going to be in his rookie season. But I'll take Jameson Williams here at the 202 and just hope that he comes back and he's a monster. All right, Gladys, you got the 203.
I'm going to go with Cole Kmet and just pair him with my quarterback. That was who he counted on last year. And even though they have upgraded their wide receivers, I think that Fields will depend on, like Mark Andrews. I think it's like Cole Kmet is a safety blanket. So I'm going to take Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I don't get the hate for Cole Kmet this year. I think he ended up being like a mid tight end 1 last year. And I think, I think he can still be good this year. I think that offense needs a receiver in the red zone. I think he can be that guy. So I like Cole Kmet this year. All right, Steven, you got the 204.
Yeah, let's see. Let me grab my tight end here now, too. Give me Sam Laporta, probably my favorite sleeper tight end in this 2023 season here. A guy out of Iowa. He's just making tons of noise at minicamp so far. I expect him to be the tight end 1 on this team that needs a number 2 or number 3 pass catcher, however you want to think it. At least for the first 6 games here. And I loved his game coming out. And if I can get this kind of tight end late in drafts, I'm very excited. So,
yeah, I like Laporta as well. We had I think it was last week, Ryan, we did a Sam Laporta versus Dalton Kincaid question, and everyone picked Sam Laporta to score more points this year. So I could see that for sure happening. So great pick. Ryan, you got the 205. I think you're on mute, Ryan.
How professional of me. I'm going to take Roschon Johnson here. I don't love all the other running backs there in Chicago. I know Khalil Herbert had a good year last year, but Roschon comes in with decent draft capital. He has that big body. He shows he can catch some balls. He was just cursed being behind the best running back in college football probably the past 5 years. He's a stud of a back, and once he gets a hold of the reins of that rushing game, it's going to be huge because of Justin Fields opens up the world for him.
Yeah, if Jamie's still in the chat, he's the conductor of the Roschon Johnson hype train. I don't know if he's in here still or not, but he loves Roschon Johnson. So great pick. That's a tough backfield to figure out because they have Donta Foreman, they got Khalil Herbert, and then himself being the rookie. One of them will end up getting that sort of clear role as the one, but who knows which one it'll end up being. It could be a week-to-week thing for that matter, but I think Roschon has the highest upside of the 3. All right, so I'm up at the 206 here, and I'd like to trade my pick and move back and
decline.
Yeah. All right, 206. Let's see. I guess I'm going to go with man, it is ugly. Once again, I'm going to take the positional that I don't have right now and take the tight end Luke Musgrave, I guess. All the tight ends that were anywhere good are going to be taken, but he was drafted higher than his teammate Tucker Kraft. So I'll take Luke Musgrave and hope that the Packers somehow decide to start using the tight end, which most of the time they have not used the tight end. But at this point, I will just take what's left. Gladys, you got the 207.
I'm gonna go back to the Bears, and I'm maybe and take. I really don't like Claypool. I'm gonna take. I take that back. I'm not going back to the Bears. I lied. I can't do it. I take David Montgomery.
David Montgomery? Yeah, that's what I was looking at too.
Yeah, I think that, where we are right now, I'm just going to go name value because I got nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, if you think he's getting that role of Jamal Williams last year, who had 18 rushing touchdowns last year. I mean, even if he gets
Yeah.
11 rushing touchdowns, 12,
I'll
he's
take
still
it.
good. Yeah, so I like that pick there.
Good pick.
Steven, you got the 208 here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Khalil Herbert. He should have the opportunity to be the starter day one. Don't know what his workload's going to be offhand, but I mean, the last 2 seasons he's played, and he's just an efficient runner. He's a good 2-down back here. He's not a big passing threat. When we saw Dave Montgomery go down with injuries over the last 2 seasons, Herbert's been very efficient with his running ability, and now that he's with a mobile quarterback again, I mean, he's at this point of the draft. I mean, he has a solid chance to be a decent, flexible back for you this season.
Yeah, I love Khalil Herbert. I actually did an article on him last year about how he was more efficient than David Montgomery, just his overall metrics. So if he can continue that rise there and hold that number 1 job, then absolutely he'll be a great pick. Ryan, this is your last pick here at the.
This is my last pick. Okay, I'm going to just keep it going for me and planting my flag. And planting my flag with the player I love.
Okay.
And who's going to overtake one of the players I hate this year? I really thought about AJ Dillon at this pick, but I'm thinking Dwayne McBride. He's going to take over that starting spot in Minnesota. He's an absolute stud in college. For all you people who like stats and stuff like that, he was 93rd percentile dominator rating. For people actually who just watch film, he was a bowling ball. Ran through, ran over, ran around people, did it all. He had 1,700 yards and 19 touchdowns last year. He's just a monster. He's electric. He can make big plays when Madison has had 10 plays over 20 yards in the past 4 years. Dwayne McBride broke them all the time in college. He just adds something to that offense that it didn't have once Dalvin left in. He's just a better back than anything they have. And it may be later in the season, but it's going to be his job.
I like that pick there, and I like your backing of him too, because I got a lot of him in Dynasty, so I hope you're right.
He's my all-in this year for the rookies.
Nice. All right, my last pick here at the 210, and I know we come in every year. We're Dynasty people, and we like to think that the rookie's just going to come in and take over people's jobs, the veterans, but it doesn't always happen that way. And I'm going to bet by taking this guy here that hopefully it doesn't happen right away. At least I'm going to take KJ Osborne. We talked about all the vacated targets that are going to be there. We just assume that it'll be Jordan Addison taking those vacated targets, but Osborne has been there, knows the offense a little bit. He can definitely, have that chemistry with Kirk Cousins. And if Addison struggles at all as a rookie, it'll be Osborne getting those targets and not Addison. So I will take the punt here at the 210 and give me KJ Osborne. Gladys, this is your last pick.
I'm going to take Tyler Scott, rookie. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I have way too much confidence in Chicago's offense this year, but I think he might do something. He could do something, and I really don't like Chase Claypool, so I couldn't take him.
I forget, Ryan. Is he the one that's like super fast? He's like 4.3 40. Is that the one I'm thinking of? I can't remember if it's Scott.
I don't think so. I think he's the one that they mostly compare to T.Y. Hilton.
Okay.
Like his body size and stuff. Yeah.
I thought he was.
I don't think he's super fast.
No, he's not. Okay, fair enough. I thought he was the one that was like just could fly down the field, and I thought maybe he'd be a big play threat at this point at the draft, but maybe I'm wrong on that guy. All right, Steven, you got the last pick, Mr. Irrelevant here. Who are you going with?
Yeah, let me give you some upside with I'm going to take the hype of Romeo Doubs right now. Christian Watson is the presumed wide receiver 1 on this team here, but we don't know what's going to happen. This is a different quarterback, different situation here. Romeo Doubs might fit Jordan Love's ability to throw the ball a little bit better down the field. And, I like what I saw out of him a little bit. So, and I'm hearing great things out of camp from him so far. So let's go with that.
Yeah, good stuff. I like that. And Jamie mentioned one of the guys I was going to mention here that weren't picked. Darnell Mooney still on the board. Jaden Reed, the rookie for Green Bay that everybody seems to like. He's also still on the board. A.J. Dillon, not drafted as well. That's a little bit surprising. We mentioned Chase Claypool. Not surprising that he didn't get drafted. He's kind of fallen off quite a bit since his rookie season. And that's really it. Marvin Jones, Tucker Kraft, Donta Foreman, Ty Chandler, nobody you really want to have on your fancy team. So, all right. Great pick there. Now we're going to close this out with a new segment that we're going to try. I had to make sure that Ryan can actually see this since it's illegal where he's at. But he's able to at least see them. He just can't make the picks, but we'll go ahead and get into that next.
Top bet of the week.
All right, the prop bet of the week, and we're going to use Underdog, who Ryan can do best ball on Underdog, but he can't actually do the pick'ems on Underdog. And I picked 3 players from this division. I just gave them all hires for now, just so that we can pick and we kind of get a consensus here. And I will place a $5 bet on whatever we decide. And the first one here, and Steven, since this is your team, I'm going to ask you here. Higher or lower on Jordan Addison getting 825.5 receiving yards this year?
Let's see here.
Yeah, 825.5 is the number there. And I don't have stats in front of me as far as where some of the rookies have been done in the past. I know Jefferson obviously broke this as a rookie. But that's a good amount of yards for a rookie that's going to be getting his being the number 2 in that offense.
I'm saying lower.
You going lower on this one?
Lower.
All right,
on this one, yeah.
Let's go lower on Addison. Anybody else want to chime in on this? Does anybody think differently as far as what they think is going to happen here with Addison?
I'm going to go lower. Just going off of Minnesota, what we've seen, the number 2 receiver since Jefferson's there. While they've gotten heavily targeted, they haven't crossed over that 800-yard mark. So Thielen, he's had close to 100 targets every year, but he's been living around that between 700 and 725 the last couple seasons with Jefferson there. Jefferson's just too much of a hog.
Yeah, I'm lower as well. And Mr. Scampers joins in here. He says he joins in just enough time to hear us throw some shade at Big Marv Jones. Hey, I love Marvin Jones. He's past his prime. He's not going to be relevant in fantasy, but he's always been that guy that's always overlooked no matter where he goes, and he just puts up numbers. So I love him as a player, just not for fantasy. Gladys, anything you want to chime in with Addison? Are you with us with the lower choice here?
No, I was going to go higher.
Right.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell just like Cousins had a career high 643 passing attempts last year. Like we said earlier, that leaves open 1,013 targets, 17% target share. I think Addison is going to be the beneficiary of that. Yeah, it's 718 yards Thielen had last year. Dalvin Cook had 295 receiving yards. I don't see that that's an impossible stat for him to get in that particular offense.
All right. Since it is 2-1, I'll stay out of this. We'll keep it at a lower rate, but thanks for the input, Gladys.
I can't play him either here. I can't play pick'ems on Underdog in Colorado.
You can't play him either? Oh, okay, fair enough. All right, J.K. Dobbins, Ryan, we'll start with you. Higher or lower, 875.5 rushing yards for J.K. Dobbins this season?
I'm going to go higher just because we're going to assume health, full year healthy, the new offense under Monken where he's shown to have a running basket volume. We mentioned about how Chubb had that back to Cleveland. He was there. He's also had 520 yards in 8 games last year and 800 yards the year before with only starting 1 game. It's just a matter of him getting the opportunity, which should be this season.
All right. I like it. Gladys, we'll go to you next here. J.K. Dobbins, higher or lower, 875.5 yards?
I went lower. Chubb had that 1494, but when Monken was in Tampa Bay, no one came close to that. None of his.
Who were those running backs in Tampa Bay?
So you're saying Dobbins is like Chubb-like?
Dobbins is not Chubb-like, but he's a good damn back.
Yeah, I don't think he's Chubb-like. So that was my.
I mean,
you had Doug Martin, Peyton Barber, and Jaquiz Rogers were his Tampa Bay running backs. Martin.
Trash.
Yeah, Doug Martin was late in his career, I think, at that point. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
It's
We're talking guys average
5.7.
Who's averaging 5.9 a carry in his 2 years in the NFL so far. Like
Dobbins' highest
Dobbins
is
is
805 in 15 games. I don't see it.
He only started one of them. Like he was the backup that year. He wasn't starting them.
Lower.
All right, Gladys is going lower. So Steven, you get to be the tiebreaker here. What you got for J.K. Dobbins?
Oof. Man.
No pressure.
Yeah.
It's just Jeff's money.
Yeah. I'm going to go lower too, honestly. I think he could end up with another 800, but I don't think he ends up closer to it at 900.
All right.
I think Gus Edwards does take a good chunk of this offense here still.
All right, we're going lower on J.K. Dobbins. Let me lock that in there. And Gladys, this last one is for you. This is what they call rivals that they have on Underdog as well, where you get to pick. There's two different players that they pick against each other for different reasons, and then one of them usually has like an accelerator. So this one is Kenny Pickett, more passing touchdowns than Justin Fields. Pickett has a one touchdown adjustment, meaning that Fields to win this would have to have 2 more touchdowns than Kenny Pickett. So where are you going here, Gladys? Are you just taking your Steeler and going with it, Kenny Pickett, to have more touchdowns than Justin Fields?
I am, actually. Kenny Pickett had 52 red zone attempts last year, passing attempts. Fields only had 37. Kenny Pickett has, I think, Darnell Washington, Pat Frymuth, and Deontay Johnson, who is going to have a touchdown progression. So I don't see Fields scoring more passing touchdowns than Kenny Pickett at all.
Yeah, I like it because it's not total touchdowns, it's passing touchdowns. Right.
Yeah.
Pickett's not going to rush too many in there, where I think Fields is an option running in. So that's a good choice there. Ryan, I'll go to you. What do you think, Kenny Pickett or Justin Fields?
I really just want to take
Fields to be a dick.
Just to be a dick. But it's not total touchdowns, it's passing touchdowns. That offense isn't built for that. And Pittsburgh has a lot of weapons at receiver. So I'm going to take Pickett on this.
All right. Steven, you going to sweep it, or are you going to throw in a wrench here and give Justin Fields a little bit of love?
No, unfortunately not. I'd love to, but no, I'm going to stick with Kenny Pickett. When you get the extra 1 point touchdown on top of it, you give me that. Yeah,
sure. I was going to say I would actually take Pickett straight up without the extra touchdown given to him. So
I mean, it's gonna be like 24-18. Like, it's not gonna be high for you.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we are lower on Addison at 825.5. We are lower on J.K. Dobbins at 875.5, and we are picking Kenny Pickett to have more passing touchdowns than Justin Fields. Let me go ahead and lock in my $5 bet here, and we're gonna just play the standard here. Play $5 to win 30. And if I lose, then y'all are not invited back on the show, including me.
So that's all I had to do to get off the show.
A lot of risk there. A lot of risk involved. All right. That wraps up the show. Thank you both for coming on. I really appreciate you spending an hour with us tonight. We'll go around the room. Once again, plug your Twitter handle. If you want to plug something you're working on, do that as well. We'll go to you.
Oh, wait. Are we doing me first? I'm sorry.
No,
my dog is just. Oh, good. Okay.
Me first. All right. Yeah. So, yeah, appreciate you guys letting me on. Obviously, this was a ton of fun to do this show with you guys tonight. You can find me over on Twitter at Coach Stephen P, or at our fantasy coaches at Coaches Fantasy. Right now, we're working on some sleepers, busts, and breakouts in the month of July on our podcast. And then I'll be doing some player team previews with Dynasty Nerds for the month of July, too. So check both those out over there, too, Dynasty Nerds.
Good stuff. Gladys over here with I guess her dog must be doing something hilarious, because she is like,
he just like turned out the lights. He just like unplugged everything, which explains the connection. Yeah. So you can see me on Twitter at Gladys L. Tyler. Check me out on Going for Two, writing, and then Thursday do the No Particular Order podcast, where we do mock drafts, and Monday the 2-point conversion. Every other Monday the 2-point conversion. This Monday will be actually Kyle and his great talk show, so listen to that. And that's really all I have. My dog's kind of a dick.
He's like, time to go to bed.
Exactly.
Ryan, what you got going on?
Just because Gladys has to go to bed, find me a class, 534, and podcasting some places sometimes.
All right, guys. As always, you can find me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. Of course, we are cramming in the Discord. If you're not in there, we are cramming for the Scott Fish Bowl. We got mocks. And then we had a total of 19 mocks happening today in the Discord channel. It is ridiculous. They fill within minutes. So if you are in the Scott Fish Bowl, make sure you check out the Discord. You can find a link in my Twitter profile or on the website, goingfor2.com. like Gladys mentioned, her show on Thursdays. We got tons of shows on the Go for Two Live Network, and you can find us every night there on YouTube. So go find us, subscribe, hit that little bell button for us. We appreciate everything you can give us. For Steven, for Gladys, for Ryan, I'm Jeff. We will see y'all next week.
Peace out.
Later.